In the meantime, the crisis in the Nasarawa State House of Assembly has deepened with a 13-member faction led by factional Speaker Daniel Ogazi, who was inaugurated inside the Assembly chamber, suspending 10 out of the 11 members elect, faction led by factional Speaker Ibrahim Balarabe, who was sworn in at a government ministry building. Both are members of the governing APC, and the crisis is in the APC National Chairman Abdullahi Adamu's home state. Our rights correspondent Oleje Wapera tells us more.
It's day 2 of the leadership crisis that has hit the Nasarawa State House of Assembly, following the emergence of 2 speakers under the same political party, the All Progressives Congress. A 13-member faction led by Speaker Daniel Ogazi, who was inaugurated inside the Assembly chamber upon resumption and holding of proceedings at plenary, said it suspended the 10 members elect faction led by the factional Speaker Ibrahim Balarabe, who was sworn in at the government ministry building and is alleged to be backed by the Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule. The Ogazi-led faction, in a statement sent to Arise News, named the suspended members elect on a press release with the letterhead of the clerk of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly, but which had Ogazi's signature. But in a briefing, Ogazi said the suspended members elect would be allowed to take their oath at the Assembly complex if they so wish.
Members of the public should not recognize them as honorable members of Nasarawa State House of Assembly until they avail themselves before the Halo Chamber for them to be sworn in to actively participate in our activities and procedures of the House.
They also urged the Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule to desist from recognizing the factional Speaker Ibrahim Balarabe-led members elect.
We call on the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, because we also saw on the social media and the print media and all media houses where he received the illegal speaker as the Speaker of Nasarawa State House of Assembly. I know that His Excellency is a man of honor. He's a man that respects rules and laws. We urge him to desist from further recognizing them as Speaker and members of the State Assembly.
Some supporters of the Ogazi-led faction had slept overnight at the State Assembly complex in a bid to prevent the Balarabe faction from gaining access into the chamber. The factional Speaker, Ibrahim Balarabe, is in his 3rd term and was the immediate past Speaker of the Nasarawa State Assembly. Despite holding his first sitting at the building of the Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs in the state capital, Lafia, he insists that he remains the authentic Speaker. There are 24 seats in the Nasarawa State House of Assembly, and with a division of 13 and 11 on both sides, is left to be seen when the crisis will be resolved in the home state of the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Abdullahi Adamu. Oleje Wapera, Arise News.
All right, to help us understand the ongoing situation at the Nasarawa State House of Assembly is the governor himself, the governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule. Thank you so much for joining us on News Night tonight.
Welcome to News Night.
You were really laughing. You almost choked as you were listening to those gentlemen there. But you've been accused. At least we had Michael Mary, former NOA boss here, who is also a PDP chieftain, accuse you, laid all the blame at your doorstep, saying that you are the cause of the crisis, the leadership tussle in the Nasarawa State House of Assembly. How do you respond to that first?
Well, thank you very much for having me. If he did not accuse me, I would be surprised. Michael Mary is another, I don't want to call their names, you know, those kind of politicians that you see. We have some of them running for governor now and the rest of that. So he's just one of those kind of politicians that nothing is right as far as opposition is concerned. So they are not the kind of politicians that will say, oh, yes, this is opposition, but this opposition has done well in this area. This opposition has done bad in this area. So, and as a governor of the state, yes, As a governor of the state, yes, there is no problem whatsoever. If he says I did anything, I'm at fault, whatever happens in Nasarawa state, it stops actually at my table because I'm the governor. So whether I'm directly guilty or not directly guilty, as far as the governor is concerned, whether it is right or wrong, I will accept responsibility.
So you're taking responsibility for all that's going on there, which it's a good start.
So when you say you're accepting responsibility, are you owning up to some allegations? Do you have an interest? Who is your choice leader of the State House of Assembly?
You see, in every democracy, and I just came out from a meeting with our president. In fact, we had a meeting with the president twice today. Earlier on, he called the governors. Around 12 noon, we had the meeting. And the president actually said, I cannot force people that I prefer to work with, but I'm pleading with you, to help me convince the members of the National Assembly that I have a choice. I will have wished to work with so and so people, but I'm not forcing it on you. And it happens with everywhere. So I live in the US for most of my career. It happens even in the US. Whoever will be the speaker, whoever will be the head of Senate, the president would like so and so person to be, but it's not compulsory.
Who is your choice in this case?
Yes.
In this case, who is your choice?
No, my choice is the person that I have worked with for the last 4 years. Because I have worked with him, I met him as a speaker, I worked with him, and we had a very peaceful state. Nasarawa state is always considered as one of the most peaceful states. So, and it's because of the kind of relationship I have with him. It's the same thing with the CJ. I have a wonderful relationship with the CJ. So the three arms of government in Nasarawa state have an excellent working relationship. And to tell you, you see, the politicians sometimes can create big thing out of nothing. These two gentlemen that we are talking about that are contesting against each other, they are the best of friends. They knew each other much longer than I knew them. I did not even know them until I started getting into politics in 2018. And in the house, they have been the best of friends. But now they are having some problems between themselves because one wants the position of the other, and I do the best I can to stay away, as far as that is concerned. But I say, if you will agree with me, I prefer to continue with this person. But I'm not imposing him on you.
Okay,
so that's the position.
What exactly is the basis of your preference for Balarabe-Abdullahi? That's his name. He's been speaker twice.
Yes.
In the House there. What exactly is the basis of your support? And then the question of checks and balances, separation of powers between the legislature and the executive, and of course the judiciary. That has been in question lately about executive interference in the affairs of the legislature and how unhealthy it is for our democracy.
I think executives have the right as human beings. As a governor, I'm also a citizen of Nasarawa state. I have the right to say I prefer this rather than that. I want this other than that, especially in situation where I will be the one to work with the people. So I can say, based on what I have known about you, I prefer this person than that. But I'm not saying that person must be. All I'm saying is I have a choice as a human being. And I think that is what is happening. And I just gave you an example right now. This night at 7 o'clock, the legislators, the governors, and the president, we had another meeting where the president again say, I will prefer so and so person for Senate president, so and so person for speaker.
Yeah, and that's why I asked the question, sorry to butt in, so that we can maximize the time. What exactly is the basis of your preference? What exactly has it done in the past, and what is it bringing to the table? What are those things that you've looked at and said, look, he's my man for the job, speaker?
First and foremost, he's matured, and he has demonstrated that yesterday. Secondly, he has been able to keep the house calm. Before he came, we had a House of Assembly in Nasarawa State that were actually punching each other. I'm sure you must have heard the news where people will go in punch. Since I came in 2019, there had not been one time where we had any kind of problems within the house where people are punching each other. He has the respect of most of the members. Like today, we have 11 members of the House of Assembly that are APC. 8 are with him. In this same exercise that we are talking about, 8 are with him. Yesterday, when he came in, and then before I actually said, this is my preference, I had discussion with the party. And the party also chose him and said, that is the right person that we want. And I consulted also with some of the major stakeholders in the state, and they say, yes, he's the right person to do. So I didn't just jump up and say, this is the person I want. I made consultations. And even after I said, okay, this is the person I want, and the party says, this is what I want, then we call all the legislators from our party, and we sat down with them. We say, please, this is the person we want, and we want you to support the person. That's all.
Your Excellency.
Yes.
We know that in a democracy like ours,
yes.
One of the challenges that we face is the challenge of sponsorship. When you have a candidate that you mentor or sponsor, as they say in some climb, it's not unusual that you may be sentimental about your choices. I mean, the sponsor may be sentimental about his choices. So have you, speak to us about the autonomy, how much autonomy that your State House of Assembly has, apart from your influence?
As far as we are concerned in Nasarawa State, even the autonomy of the local government, that is both executive, they have 100% autonomy. Since I came in 2019, I had never for one day interfered with how local government funds are shared. Now we are talking of even the legislature. So what they do is, I have never attended their, what they call Jack meeting, never attended it even once. They sit on their own and make the decisions, and then sometimes show me. Sometimes they don't even show me. This is how we have shared the resources that came to us. This is what is going here. This is what is going here. This is what is going here. Sometimes I suggest to them, since you have so much, why don't you save this much? Those are the kind of things that happen.
Okay, so very quickly, I mean, there's a logical question that's been put forward. Balarabe-Ibrahim was sworn in at some ministry other than the hallowed chambers of the assembly, and that by minority, because the other group, or the Ogazi, has 13 members on his side, while the man you're supporting has about 11 or so, as we gather. Who ordinarily, at face value, should be recognized? Is it the one who was sworn in at a different place entirely, or the one who was sworn in within the chambers of the State Assembly complex?
You see, first, I never wanted to get involved with their argument about who does what and who does the other, but let us look at the legitimacy of swearing in this.
Right.
The governor usually will write a proclamation letter to the clerk. Once there is no assembly, the clerk is in charge. So you write the letter to him, and only the clerk can swear in a speaker. The moment he inaugurates a speaker, the speaker now will turn around and inaugurate the other members. In Nasarawa State, we have a House of Assembly, and we had the former House of Assembly, that's the old House of Assembly. So we had the problems all day yesterday. In fact, from 4 o'clock this morning was when they started calling me to say that there are problems. There are some people that came with, and then there were issue of security. Security people were calling me. So I said, okay, I have already written to the gentleman, who is the clerk. I expect to hear from the clerk. So the clerk now said, okay, he was going to suspend the inauguration by a few minutes or maybe few hours because of what happened. So he suspended it. And then later in the day, he called me again and said, all right, the situation was still tense, but I had already written a letter for the inauguration yesterday. So he had to do it yesterday. So he now said, okay, he will go to the old House of Assembly, which happens to be the local government ministry. That's the one they kept saying ministry. That was the original House of Assembly where they were staying. It's just directly opposite this same House of Assembly. Because this one was occupied by a lot of talks and these other people. So if I had allowed the two of them to come together, there would have been a lot of bloodshed yesterday, and still the governor will be blamed. So they pleaded with me to go to the ministry, and I say, clerk, do whatever you think you can do.
Did the clerk take that decision arbitrarily, or was it, I mean, according to them, was based on orders from above? I mean, who gave them the orders?
There are no orders from above. The clerk actually asked because of the situation he found. You know, that's why I'm telling you, politicians will just build something big out of it. And I said, yes, for peace. He will have said, okay, we are going in there, and they will use their own talks to force themselves in there against these other people, and they will have been a lot of
I'm
bloodshed.
surprised, Your Excellency,
yes,
that you say that you would have used their own thugs. You are the chief security officer of the state.
Exactly.
So how many thugs could they have been able to garner against your machinery, against the security apparatus of the state?
So let me tell you, we have policemen from morning, and the whole place was locked up. Okay? And I said everybody actually should disperse. The police were having some challenges dispersing them, and the police kept communicating with me. The commissioner of police came and said he was afraid of using force because it's a political issue, so he will manage it. While they were in the process of managing, some people jumped the fence. And I say, be careful anyway. Don't shoot anybody, don't throw any tear gas, because you don't know the end of it. Okay? So today, maybe you are not familiar with the situation we have about policemen in this country. We have very, very few policemen in this country that cannot gather. The moment there is a force, it's very difficult for the police, actually, without shooting and other things, they can't manage them. So, and that's what happened. So we had the security people there. We had even some military on the side, but yet they were able to break into it. And the other choice we had was to start shooting, you know, which was not right. So that's why I say we had some level of maturity, you know, on the side of the policemen and on the CP. I commended the CP. And then the DSS and the rest of that, by not doing any kind of shooting also. So they allowed, the clerk now went and swore these guys, and then brought them to my office and say, okay, I have concluded the exercise. Some people are making noise about whether it is 10 or 8 or this. No, the quorum of House of Assembly by law is 1/3. So these people, like you said, were 11. So I asked him, I say, is it according to law? He said, yes. Just like the Ogazi was saying, you know, I follow the law. So it was the guy that I asked to swear in the people that brought the people to me and said, this is the speaker. So who do you want me to recognize? The ones sworn in by the clerk, or the ones sworn in by only God knows who? I don't know.
It really must be a tough, you know, job and a tall order. But very quickly, you've been accused, whether rightly or wrongly, of polarizing the state along religious lines. And some are saying there are religious undertones to who you are supporting. They're saying because Balarabe is Muslim, Ogazi is Christian, that maybe that's the reason why you're, you know, lining up behind Balarabe.
There are a lot of
How do you
Christians,
respond to
actually.
that?
There are 14 Christians in the house and 10 Muslims in the house. So as I was telling you, some of the people actually that are pushing and supporting the same, both from inside and outside, are all Muslims who are supporting the same Ogazi. And some of the same people who are pushing, you know, in my local government, the 2 members are Christians. The other person that they promoted yesterday to do is a Christian.
So very quickly, what are you doing to bring all parties together, whether on the religious side, the political side, because you are governor, you're the chief executive of the state.
That's what we are doing. I think the greatest achievement we had is so far, there has not been breakdown of law and order to the point of attacking or killing or shooting or wounding anybody. And for me as a governor, I believe that is the best step. So now the consultations continues. You know, as far as I'm concerned, we'll continue to consult with them. As far as I'm concerned, I recognize the speaker that was brought to me by the clerk and say, this is the speaker. So that's the speaker.
Balarabe-Abdullahi Sule, after your appearance on Newsnight tonight, all eyes are going to be on Nasarawa State to see how you
will handle
play the big brother role in ensuring that peace and sanity return to the State House of Assembly. Thank you for your appearance on Newsnight.
Thank you very much. There is already peace and sanity by the grace of God. Thank you very much.
Good to know that.